in here, which
Okay,
you know,
now
Super
it-
Bowl
okay.
last night, so we're kind of chill today. So hopefully that's out of your system, and so we're good to go. All right, so good morning. My name is Sherry Dissinger, and we're going to begin our academic conferences for this group of wonderful 8th graders. Thank you so much for being here, parents. We appreciate you spending your time with us today. We are going to complete our 4-year plan for the academic conference, and then we are also going to complete the registration for your 9th grade courses, which will be for your Jasper High School courses. Okay. This morning, you're going to have a green folder that includes the 4-year plan, which is a 3-ply document. Notice that there are 3 pages in there, so as you write, everything you write on there is going to be kind of your final copy, so don't treat it as a rough draft. Please make sure you write very dark and neat when you print on that. Also, you have inside there the yellow Jasper registration card, and that is great information for the Jasper counselors because they're actually going to be using this document to help you with your plan. If you put your card on top of your 4-year plan to write on it, however, it's all going to go through on the 4-year plan, so just don't write one on top of the other as you're filling that out. And then students are logging into Naviance and also to the online registration server. So you can have 2 tabs open, students, but basically that's what you guys are going to be doing is pulling that information up just like we did for our practice 4-year plans online. So if you haven't had a chance to share this with your parents, this is the time. So we'll go through this information together and explain everything that you're going to need to know to get through the next 4 years of your high school. This morning, helping me, I, of course, am Sherry Dissinger, your 8th grade counselor. I also have Mr. Mike Rubin, who is our 7th grade counselor, and then Kelly Tisdale, our 6th grade counselor. And we do rotate with our students, so we go through this process with our kids every 3 years. So each of them have done this before, also with their academic groups of students. And I know that you guys may be a little bit unfamiliar with their faces, but the information is the same. We will be assisting you as we go through this process. So as you're having questions, hold on to those, and when we come around to you individually, they'll be able to assist you. Okay? Now, looking at the Plano ISD graduation plans, I want to make sure that you understand what is required for students entering 9th grade in the fall of 2018. All students are required to take state assessments, very similar to the STAR testing that your student does in middle school. They are called end-of-course exams. These 5 subject areas, Algebra 1 for math, Biology for science, English 1 and 2 for English, and then U.S. History in the 11th grade, are the 5 that they have to complete with success for the end-of-course exams. And as you begin going through the high school coursework, your teachers will be informing you more about that process, but it's very similar to what students do here at Robinson. And this group of 8th graders will be taking reading, math, science, and social studies all at the end of the year this year. So just be mindful of the fact that when you're in the high school program, you will have some additional testing that you will do, but it won't all be 4 tests at the end of the year like you are in the 8th grade. So this is the last big year.
Oh my gosh, you're awesome, thank you.
Now, the graduation plan for students is called the Foundation with Endorsement, okay? And the requirements for that plan include 4 years of English language arts, okay? The titles that we like to encourage for our students that are college bound is taking English 1, English 2, English 3, and English 4. Those are the best ones to have on your transcript, we feel, to prepare you for the collegiate level for post-secondary education, and it also is consistent with what the state of Texas requires. There are course options for the 4th year of English in the lieu that they do not want to take English 4. They are able to take additional courses in lieu of English 4. However, my encouragement to you would be to go ahead and please take English 4, at least to be that fully prepared student depending upon what you plan to do for post-secondary, whether it's an associate degree, a trade school, communication in college, 4-year degree, etc. It's very wise to go ahead and complete the 4 years with English 4. That would be my recommendation. For math, students are required to get 4 credits in math. So beginning with your 9th grade year, those will be the first of your 4 years of math. Algebra 1 is the first in sequence, then geometry, then a 3rd and 4th year choice of math. We do encourage Algebra 2 after geometry, and then possibly pre-calculus or statistics or some other form of math that is best suited towards your next future career goals, okay? But typically we do recommend Alg 1, geometry, and Alg 2 as the first 3 years. That's our recommendation. There are, however, a plethora of other options that you can choose. As you get closer to that senior year, you will make the final determination for your 12th grade course. That will probably be determined by how you're progressing with math and your interests of your post-secondary. Okay? In social studies, they are also required to have 4 credits. Those would be met through world geography, world history, U.S. history, and a semester each of government and economics. So those 2 one-semester courses go together to equal 1 full credit for their senior year. In science, they're also required to have 4 credits. They will have biology in the 9th grade. They'll have a choice of either IPC or chemistry in their 10th grade year. The 3rd year choice and the 4th year choice, there is a long list of options, okay? Once you've taken your 2nd year of either IPC or chemistry, if you don't take chemistry your 2nd year, your 3rd year, you can go ahead and take chemistry. If you've taken chemistry your 2nd year, then you can begin to take any of these as the prerequisites are wide open. My recommendation for a 4-year university, I would suggest biology, chemistry, and physics to be 3 of those 4 years, just to have those on your transcript. Lots of colleges require 3 years of a lab science, and so those are really good, consistent backgrounds to give you before moving into that 4th year. And because of the wide variety of interests that 4th year, you can select that as you become closer to your senior year and closer to deciding what your future outcome is in your occupational choice. Some of these upper level courses may lend themselves towards a particular career, for example, food science, anatomy and physiology, or forensic science. Those are very specific subjects to a particular career choice. Fine arts choices, students are required to have 1 year of a fine art. Now, those can be met in any of these arenas, whether it's an art, a theater, a music program, dance, or even in the CTE area of floral design, okay? So there are lots of different ways that students can receive a fine art credit, and it's best that they be open to those options, especially if they have not selected one in middle school yet, to try something that is a little bit of interest to them. So there is a wide option, and they can take it any time in the 4 years. Languages other than English. Many of our students have begun a foreign language at middle school. So they have taken either French or Spanish, 7 and 8. They will have completed the first year of that credit. So they would only need 1 additional year of credit in the high school level. So after 2 years, then the student doesn't require any more. However, to be competitive for post-secondary, we do recommend going ahead and taking a 3rd year of a foreign language just so that the student is more immersed in the language and also to have a little bit more competitive recommendation for college, okay, on their transcript. These languages are the 5 languages that we offer in Plano ISD: sign language, Chinese, German, French, and Spanish, okay? So anyone beginning a language needs to start in the 9th grade if they have not started in middle school yet. So they will need to select one of these 5 to begin in the 9th grade and then the 2nd year in the 10th grade, okay? Another requirement is health. We do require 1 semester health credit. They can receive this health credit either by taking the health course, which is a 1 semester course, or there is a Principles of Health Science course that is a year-long course typically recommended for students that might be pursuing a future in medicine, okay? Whether that's nursing medicine, pharmacy, medical, anything in the medical profession, the Principles of Health Science does fulfill the health requirement, but it also exposes the students to other health-related concerns. And so in that system, it's helpful for those students, if that's their interest, to focus on health in that arena, okay? However, that course is not offered until the 10th grade, so if your scheduling does not allow for that, then you may need to consider taking the health course. Physical education. All of our students are required to take a full year, which would be either 2 semesters or 1 full year of physical education. There are multiple ways to receive that credit, okay? If you're in the marching band, that fall semester will count as a semester of PE credit. If you're in the ROTC program, that program offers you physical education credit. Dance, as I mentioned before, can be either PE or it can be a fine art. You can get both of those. If you're in a UIL sport, that would be any athletic sport like wrestling, football, volleyball, track, cross country, soccer, any of the mandated UIL sports that the high school offers, then if you're on the sport team for the full year, you would receive your PE credit that way. If none of those are an option for you, the traditional PE course, which is very similar to those in middle school, would be a 1 semester course each of either aerobics, individual sports, team sports, or PE foundations, okay? All of those are listed on the back of the Jasper card under the PE section, so if you're very concerned about which PE you want to take, please read about that in the course catalog and also talk about it with your student if your concern is the particular type of PE credit that they're receiving. For communications, students are required to have a 1 semester course either called Professional Communications, or if your student is in the AVID program, chooses to take debate or oral interpretation, they can receive the speech or the communication credit for those courses, okay? If your student is auditioning for AVID and has not been in the program yet and wants to do that in the 9th grade, if they are placed in AVID in the 9th grade, that class will count as their speech credit, so they don't need to sign up for an additional professional communications course. However, we recommend for students that are planning to take the speech course, plan to take that course, maybe pair it with health because they're 1 semester each. That will fill up a full block of your classes for that year. Those courses typically don't require as much as far as outside classwork, extended projects, extensive homework. And so those kind of can be one of those buffer classes that could be useful in a year that maybe you're taking a lot of stringent coursework or have a lot of heavy-duty homework that you need to do. Those 2 courses together pair very nicely and they make for a very good transition for high school as well. So in summary, the foundation of the 4x4, the 4 years of each of the 4 cores, plus your health, languages other than English, fine arts, PE, professional communications, and then elective or endorsement areas to complete a minimum of 26 credits, okay? And as the students discussed last week, they will have the option to have 28 credits because there are 7 classes in each of the 4 years. So our students will absolutely complete the 4-year plan with endorsement with extras, okay? With those extras, that does allow for some flexibility with scheduling. It also helps them to have some of the courses that they're very interested in that they would like to pursue for more than 1 credit. For example, a fine art. Maybe they want to take 4 years of that fine art. We have extra space in the schedule to allow that. Now remember, all prerequisites must be met before taking a course. Typically, the sequence that we described to you is to help you in making sure you've met the prerequisites before getting to that junior or senior year and wondering, do I have enough planned out credits to get what I need? So we do look in advance when we're looking towards those courses. For example, if forensic science is something you want to take in your 12th grade year, you do have to have the law enforcement course in the 11th grade year. So it is helpful for you to, if you have some specific things you want to look at, be looking down the road at what some of those options are for you. Another thing to note, in order to earn the endorsement, the student must complete Algebra 2. And as I discussed earlier in the math area, we always suggest Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2 to be included in that 4-year plan. For this reason, that they must complete that in order to get their credit for their endorsement. Now, foundation aside, we have what are called the endorsement pathways, okay? And at the bottom of your 4-year plan, you will see the list of these endorsements, and I will go over them briefly with you. However, it is my advice to you to take this with a grain of salt, okay? We've been talking about the 4-year plan with endorsements for 4 years. The first graduating class of seniors with the endorsement plan is this current year, okay? So we have not heard from colleges or universities yet to even understand what their interest is or what they think about the endorsements, because this is the first time that they're even experiencing graduates from Texas with endorsement pathways, okay? However, it is my belief that these endorsement pathways are a great descriptor of what kinds of courses that your student is interested in, and so we will develop a plan to meet one of these 5 pathways, which can change as you progress through the 4 years. So you may start with one endorsement, and by the time you graduate, you may end with a second one, okay? And it is not any one a better or worse than another. It's simply a concentration of coursework that your student is taking. So for business and industry, public service, STEM, arts and humanities, and multidisciplinary, the business industry pathway would be considering these various areas, which are very specific to a particular type of the business world, okay? So students that have interest in that as a future might choose to take electives in these categories, which would fulfill that business endorsement, okay? The public service pathway would be the health sciences, education, law enforcement, okay? So again, depending on what their interest is, those are going to be the electives that they choose. Okay. Science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM, okay? Anyone that's taking a concentration in any of those 4 areas, okay? Typically, it would be a 5th year of math. That might be a student that doubles up for a year in math, or maybe doubles up for a year of science. Arts and humanities. These are for students that are focusing in the arts and humanities areas, whether that's fine arts, like art or music, or it could be in political science, history, or English literature, okay? And again, these are students that are completing 4 years of these extra electives that are in their category of choice. And then the multidisciplinary pathway, which typically fulfills most every student in Plano ISD that is taking 4 years of English, math, science, and history, does go ahead and complete all of these areas in the foundation courses, or if they take advanced placement courses, okay, if they have 4 credits there. Students are encouraged to research their colleges, and using the Naviance program, as we've done with the classes, they have had the opportunity to look a little bit about careers, and they can look at future colleges. They will utilize this program online over the next 4 years when they're in high school to do more research with their colleges. But it's helpful for you if you know where you want to go to school or you know where you want to study. Look at the college, research what their requirements are for admissions, and that information will be helpful as you get closer to graduation to verify that each year you go through this process, that you're getting closer to all of the things that they are asking for you to complete. Plano ISD also offers dual credit courses. Okay, these are typically in your 11th and 12th grade year. Most of the courses that are offered are mainly for juniors and seniors. These are in the areas of math, language arts, and social studies. And typically these are taught either by a Collin College professor or through a Plano ISD certified teacher, okay? They are taught on the high school campus, and these students will receive a college credit for the course at the same time as receiving the high school credit for the course, which can be helpful if you are already looking at making progress towards that post-secondary career or to a profession. These are the list of the current courses. We have been told speech will be offered in the future. We just don't know exactly which year. So if your plan is to possibly do dual credit for speech, maybe don't take it in the 9th grade, and then if they implement that later on, then you might be eligible to take that course as well. Okay, but these are the current options for you for dual credit. And then there's an additional course called Learning Frameworks, and this is only for college credit. It doesn't receive any Plano ISD credit other than it would be an elective course for you. And I really don't have any information other than it is assistance for students in making that transition to college. Another plan that's possibly going to be implemented in the future for any student that is also interested in an industry pathway, there is a technical campus that is in the process of being built and subsidized for our students starting the fall of 2020. So when you students are entering your junior year, you might have this opportunity to attend this campus. And it is purposed mainly for these proposed programs here. Those are not set in stone, this is a draft, but it is to advise you if that is something that's of interest to you in your future that you may want to consider as a 9th grader and a 10th grader, trying to absorb as many of the required coursework as you can for your four-year plan that are the required courses, so that you open up your elective choices in your junior and senior year for these particular courses that can be taken through the Collin College Technology and Industry Academy. Now, again, they would like for you to do your fine arts, speech, health, and PE during those first 2 years. So if that is at all of interest to you, and you might want to be available for that option, that would be my advice to you, is to consider taking some of those courses your 9th and 10th grade year. If those are not of interest to you, again, you can take some of those courses anytime in your 9th through 12th grades. There are also other options for some of our courses. For students that are also looking at taking multiple electives of choice, there are options for summer school or e-school for professional communications, that would be the speech credit, your health or your PE credit, government and economics. And again, all of these are 1 semester courses that are required for graduation. However, they don't have to be taken during the long session. They can be taken as e-school or summer school. However, those also do have a tuition fee associated with them, so that's advisable to understand that. We do not have the dates yet for summer school. Once we get those available, we'll announce that in the counseling office, and your student can go ahead and submit application for those if they're interested. Again, some free resources for you. Naviance, again, is this resource that your student has been accessing here at school and can be accessed at home. Parents were sent an email to invite you to use your own Family Connection login. So I'm hoping that you did receive the email from me with the registration code in there so that you could log in as a parent. And students have been receiving emails from me as well through their PISD email. Another resource is Texas On Course. It's another free online resource that you can access with Workforce Commission information and also things that you can use as a parent to help your student in support of what their goals are in the future. Okay? So if you'd like to take those down for you, I'll give you a second to do that. For your Naviance and for your TexasOnCourse.org. Have it? I'll let you screenshot it there too if you need it. Okay. All right. So now we're ready to begin our four-year plan submission. So for students, if you will go ahead and find in your Family Connection, go to your courses, under the Courses tab, and you should be able to see your draft under Manage My Plans and locate the four-year plan that you created online. So if you'll go down to the bottom for Manage My Course Plans and then pull up your draft, and you can view this as a multi-year plan if you go to the right icon to the side, or if you want to look at it under View, Review, and Finalize. There's 2 different ways you can look at this. And then you can view these by subject or by grade level. So if you go to the middle tab, where it says View by grade level, and click on that, it will break it down for you, your 9th grade list, your 10th, your 11th, and your 12th grade. And if you need some help accessing this, please raise your hand and we'll get the counselors to help you, okay? Manage My Course Plans. Your draft plan. Let's go to your job training and see where it is. Okay, maybe you have it. Choose something again. Maybe it's this one that you were working on. You would finalize. Back right here. Okay, now you can see your night shift. Okay, so we're going to be filling yours out as we go today. Okay? All right. So you're going to choose high school and then Jasper. No, because they're going to be requiring the same things in the state of Texas, yes. And I think it's just so I think we can go ahead and pause this because the presentation part is in here. Yeah, I don't know how it turns off.
Okay.
Okay, so as you're looking at your four-year plans in Naviance, and if you're not there, if you'll just kind of go through this with us, and we'll break it down for you as the counselors come around. Your 4 years of English, you can see they're going to start with English 1, 2, 3, and 4. Your 4 years of math, you will have algebra, geometry, algebra 2, and then most likely pre-calculus, or you could be choosing another math depending upon what you decide. Science, you'll choose biology, chemistry, I'm suggesting physics, and then a fourth science of your choice. And if you're not sure yet, you can choose one now and change it later, okay? Your social studies, world geography, world history, U.S. history, and then a semester each of government and economics, because remember the two parts go together to equal one full credit. If you've not begun a foreign language, this is where you'll put your foreign language, okay? So foreign language 1 and 2, or if you're currently in a foreign language, then this would be the second year, and then I would suggest this to be your third year, okay? For the sample purposes, I've chosen to take PE in the 9th grade and then a fine art choice. And again, that's just my suggestion. You can choose to flip that if you'd like to. Health and speech in the 10th grade. And again, there's room for an elective choice here. For example, if your student likes to do fine art and they might want to do 2 years of fine art, they could do that here and here. Or for example, if your student is in an athletic sport and they choose to do their athletic sport for 2 years, that's another option. Maybe they're in the music program and they're going to do band for 2 years. That's another example. So this is just kind of how this gets broken down for you. And then by the time you get to your 11th and 12th grade, you see there are multiple options for elective choices. And this is, again, your students' flexibility. If they're taking a third year of a foreign language here, or maybe a third and fourth year, they can do that. Maybe they want to do athletics for 4 years. Maybe they want to do music for 4 years, okay? It's really going to be open to your student, depending upon what they want to take and what they want to do for each of these years. Now, most of you in this room may be thinking, I can plan for 9th grade, and that's as far as I can get. That's totally fine. You can write in elective for 10th, 11th, and 12th grade blanks if at this time you don't know what you want to take, okay? And in the Naviance program, as of late last week, there is an option for you to put into the Naviance program elective. There's an elective 101, 102, 103, and 104 for those upper grade level choices, so that you don't have to commit to an elective choice at this time. You can choose to put the word elective in there so that you are deciding later as you progress through your 4-year plan. So it is advisable that as you're looking at your plan and you're navigating when you want to take certain things, the sequence of the core subjects is most important. The options for the electives for 9th grade, we need you to find 7 classes for 9th grade. For 10th, 11th, and 12th, you may put electives in those blanks, okay? So please feel free to do that at this point, okay? And then students, as you're working through, the counselors are going to be coming around to look this over with you. And then once you get it pretty set up and put this on your 4-year plan, kind of like we discussed in our meetings in the classroom, we're going to be able to relook at this every single year. Okay, once you put it in your plan, that does not mean that we are going to hold you to it. You can option to look at it every year and change it, modify it, look at what you've done, check the boxes and say, yay, I did it, I'm going to do this next year. Or you might change your mind in some areas, and that's okay. Every year is a fresh start for you to look at it. Electives that you have in the future don't have to be determined today. You can certainly select elective choice and leave those open for the future, okay? So at this point, we're going to come around and help you if you have some questions, either with the computer part or with just transferring it over to your paper. And then we'll discuss any questions that you have about your courses, and then we'll get ready to submit our information on our 4-year plan and then also on our Jasper card, okay? So I'll go ahead and come around for you. And I'll leave this up for you to look at as well, okay? All right. Yes. So you'll click on high school.